Do we have an approval of the agenda for today, which is one issue and one issue only, and that's the telecommunications tower at 2 McAleer Drive in conjunction with Bell Alliant and their agent. Is that okay, Jess?
That works.
Okay. Alana, you had something to add to the agenda? You're okay?
I was just moving it for you.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Thank you. And Julie, I assume you're seconding it? All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay. We don't have an agenda. This is a first shot at it. So now we can move into the topic. Now we can legally move into the topic of the day, and that is the telecommunications tower on 2 McAleer Drive, which is on the property of McGuinness Transport.
Sorry, Councillor Duffy, the adoption of minutes from last Monday.
Oh, okay, we'll rewind here 15 seconds back. We have minutes from last Monday to adopt. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Yankoff, second by Councillor McCabe. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Is that it? Is that it, Ellen?
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
The
Now,
floor is yours.
thank you. Now, Alex, could you give us a kind of a background leading up to Monday night? I know we were aware of it, just so that our folks in Nova Scotia know where we're coming from.
Okay, so we're working off the report that was sent to the planning committee the last time. It's got the whole package in there, the original package that came from Bell, the specifications that Bell has provided us. It does allude to the fact that this application dates back to August when they had their own public meeting. Just for clarification, this isn't in the zoning bylaw. There's a separate document dealing with the antenna protocol here for the city of Charlottetown. Bell and WSP relied on that protocol to undertake the process to establish. It's a 30-meter tower at 2 McAleer off of Mount Edward Road. They had the public meeting back in August. No one showed up to provide any input, or they didn't receive any written feedback. They came forward to the planning committee in September. When the planning committee at that time looked at it, they had concern. The tower is not set back a whole lot of distance from Mount Edward Road. Mount Edward Road is a very busy street in the city. At that time, the committee felt that maybe we could go back to the applicant and could have a discussion whether there was any wiggle room in regard to moving the tower. It was deferred. It did go back to the applicant. We indicated the concerns of council. They deliberated on it. They felt, well, look, in light of everything that had transpired, they just preferred to move along and get a decision of the planning committee. It went back in October. The planning committee again reaffirmed that they were comfortable, that it was in the industrial park, it was in the generally right location, but they still were concerned about the 30 meters requirement to get it back off of Mount Edward Road, that distance. So that went on to council. There was a resolution adopted indicating that the city of Charlottetown concurred with it, but with this caveat or condition to set it back 30 meters. Then Bell got back to us this month and indicated that, look, Industry Canada, and it's no longer Industry Canada, it's Science and Technology and Innovation, Science and Economic Development is the new entity. But their protocol or the way that they deal with these,
Thank you, John.
They're not used to dealing with a letter of concurrence with conditions, because they don't know how to deal with the issue of conditions. Because they don't know, does that mean that the city of Charlottetown is on board with this condition, or what does this mean? So they pushed it back to Bell. Bell has written to us. It's in that letter in your package from November 30th. Bell has indicated that they need further clarification from the city of Charlottetown. Do we concur, I guess, or not concur? The concern was, again, that the 30-meter stipulation kind of left the position of the city of Charlottetown hanging when it came to the innovation, science, and economic development when they go forward to get their approval. The issue for council was that they were hoping way back when it was dealt with back in October that there could be some work with the property owner to relocate it. In the letter that came on November 30th from Bell has indicated that when they went back to the property owner to adhere to the requirement of council or attempt to adhere to that 30-meter setting the tower back, they ran into an issue with a drainage ditch, proximity to high voltage power on that property, as well as existing storage and impact to the operations of the existing business on the property. So therefore, we brought it forward on Monday night. Then, I gave the overview, and then where it got left is that the committee had more detailed questions in regard to that conversation, presumably, that went on with the property owner, which I didn't really, I don't know what transpired. Those that spoke to the property owner are on the line, and I guess that's where we are, Mr. Chairman. That's kind of the history of it. That's where we dealt with this on Monday night. There was a few questions, I think, of the committee that they would like to have asked directly to the applicant. So everyone is on the line that we need in order to clarify those discussions. So with that, I will hand it back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Alex. Welcome, Mayor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I missed the opportunity to add something to the agenda, but I may want to bring it up under new business.
Okay, all right.
Thanks, sir.
You being a member of planning board when this whole issue of the tower, the Bell Tower came to the fore, you and Julie or Councillor McCabe are the two elected people. Can you bring us up from your side of the story of what, where we're going from and what we want to accomplish if we can?
So the former chair, Councillor Greg Rivard, when the discussion came to the table, we asked if the tower could be moved back into the northeast corner of the property, and that was the stipulation I was going on, because this would just be towering, no pun intended, over Mount Everett Road. And so the former chair said that we'll just send a strong recommendation to relocate it to the back section of the back part of the back section of the property. I think it's Beginners Transport. And Mr. Chair, I think you were on council, and if you're not, I'm sure Alex Forbes was on council, was with planning when the East Link Tower went up behind Philip Mullally's place off Mount Everett Road.
Yeah.
There was a lot, as you remember, there was a lot of opposition, and that is off the road. This will be right on Mount Everett Road. So I made the recommendation that we that we inform Bell Canada, move it back, and that's our position. So the chair of the day said, "Well, we'll strongly recommend it," and I'm sticking to that stronger recommendation, because this will be such an imposing structure on Mount Everett Road. Now I know I think it's a monopole tower, so we will have, I'm sure, lots of debates similar to the debate that we're getting about the imposing structure on University Avenue. That is the new student residence. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, just for clarification, it won't be a monopole. This is a lattice type structure. This is a different type of a tower. A monopole is well, I did ask them as a part of this last discussion in regard to coming back to you whether a monopole could be utilized in this situation to mitigate those concerns, those visual concerns that may exist. But apparently monopoles, this is a 30-meter tower, and that's too tall for a monopole, so I just thought I'd clarify that.
But Mr. Chair, when we were discussing it, the monopole wouldn't allow any guide wires. That's what a monopole is. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Forbes. So now...
No, a monopole, and you can ask that of the applicant. A monopole, or you can have a tower without any
guide wires,
leads or guy wires that attach to it. A monopole is literally a pole. It's a circular structure. This
Correct.
is a square structure with
Yep.
lattice work in it. It's a little bit larger,
Yep.
but the reason for that is that I'm presuming, I'm not a structural engineer, but once you get up to a certain height, that they need to meet an engineering standard for wind and things like that, and it's a
right.
more robust type of a structure. But to my knowledge, you can ask the applicant, but I'm pretty certain that there's no leads off of this tower to kind of affix it other than the structure itself.
Yes.
So monopole is one thing. This is a tower, but I don't think there are any supports coming off the side of it.
So that makes my
Okay.
presentation from the first time we discussed it, that it should be put erected in the northeast corner of the property, so it's not towering over the mounted road that stretches from Sherwood Road right into Charlottetown, which is, as you know, Mr. Chair, a main entry point into the city. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Thank you, Your Worship. Julie, do you want to bring anything forward? I might as well, Jess, I might as well get them all their input at one time, and then we can discuss from there, okay?
That sounds great.
Okay.
And I think, again, I concurred with the last planning board I sat on, was just that we were wanting to hide or mask the visibility of the tower situation from Mount Edward Road. People felt very strongly that it would be better placed back if at all possible. So,
Okay. Thank you. Alana, Alana, you're in the same boat as I am. You're new to the issue, and do you have anything to add, Alana?
I don't really have, thank you, Councillor Duffy. I don't really have anything to add. I took a drive out to try and, better visualize this, and I seem to tend to agree with His Worship and Councillor McCabe that it would be much better if it was pushed back, and not such for lack of a better word, an eyesore to looking out at Mount Edward Road. So that's, someone who's new to it, that's kind of where I'm at with it. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Jess, I guess Your Worship, yes.
Could I just make one other point, Mr. Chair?
Sure. Yeah.
Look, I'm for cellular connectivity. I'm for 5G promotion. But you know what? We have a community that we live in, and I vividly recall the opposition to that Eastlink tower that is off the road, down in a ravine, not visible to a lot of actual passerbys or passengers in cars looking at this structure. And that there is a force out there that oppose any of these towers because of the electromagnetic field that it emits and the health issues. So when you can put it in a place that will continue to provide great service for the community, I'm fully supportive of it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, Jess, I'm sorry, Councillor McCabe, you have something to offer? Further to offer, I should say.
or further, I guess maybe this is what we're getting into. I guess my question is just, what is the issue why we can't move it back? Is that what we're going to talk about today?
I think so. I think it's going to lead us there. Okay.
Okay.
Jess, you've heard that side of the issue. With the aid of your Bell colleagues there on the line with you, can you address some of the concerns that the committee members have?
Of course. So I just wanted to go back to Alex did a great job of introducing the proposal that was here. So when the letter of concurrence came from Alex at the request of council on October 15th, we engaged in conversations with ISED, who are formerly Industry Canada. And what they indicated to us was they needed a more definitive concurrence letter indicating that as the City of Charlottetown, who are the land use authority in this case for the proposed site, that you are satisfied that the public notification process was followed in accordance to the antenna setting policy that's been set out, and that you are satisfied that that process can be concluded. So that is kind of what I said require at the end of this process here. And I did send, and Alex, I'm happy to send it again, a template kind of letter of concurrence that's typically kind of provided that just states that you've been duly notified, you're aware of the project, that we carried out the public notification process as per the protocol, and we followed the steps, and that you're satisfied in concluding that process. Now, again, following that, even though ISED came back and said we needed a bit of a different letter here, Bell did want to meet that recommendation request that came out of those council meetings. And so Bell then engaged in conversation with the landowner and completed a site investigation to determine if relocating the tower further away from Mount Edward Road was feasible. And so I'll let Vaughn or Chris speak to this as to the challenges that were presented on the site as to why it's not feasible to relocate the tower.
Thank you.
Vaughn, Vaughn, are you on?
It says that he's here.
Maybe he's on
Might be
mute.
muted.
I'll wait a couple of seconds for Vaughn because he actually went out and did the site visit afterwards. I mean, I'm fairly familiar, but Vaughn, are you there?
It says he's on.
In case he might have muted, or somehow his microphone is muted. That may be an issue.
He's muted now by my screen. Now he's okay.
Okay.
Earth to Vaughn. We're here, Vaughn.
Okay.
If you wanted to try the call-in, Vaughn, as well, you could also try that option.
Get a hold of Houston.
Yeah, maybe what I'll do is just give you an overview. So after we received the concurrence letter with your recommendation to push the tower back, we did some investigations internally, determined was it still going to provide the coverage that we require, and that was not an issue moving it back. So we were more than happy to go out and take a look and see whether or not it was technically possible to move the tower. So. As you're probably aware, Bell leases, most of our space. So, whether it's a commercial property or rooftop or farmland, we kind of have to place these in locations that, the operator or the owner can still continue to use their property as it's intended. So that's one of the challenges, is just finding a willing landlord that's willing to A, put the tower there, and B, finding us a place on their property that's going to work without interrupting their business. Obviously it's cell tower leasing is not their core business in most cases. So anyways, we went back, Vaughn took a look, there's some overhead high voltage wires nearby, which is a concern. And there's also a drainage ditch on the property that's in the way. So while you might just see the tower as being, I don't know what the width of this one is, but it might be a meter at the base, or maybe a little bit bigger at the base. And
It's bigger than that. Yeah.
It's what? Sorry.
The base is bigger than a meter, because I saw the stakes that were put down for the base. It's definitely
so that's likely for the foundation, not for the tower itself, right? So what you're actually going to see above ground is going to be different than what's below ground. So we do actually need to lease a bigger space from the landlord for that, in case we've got to go do maintenance and bring a crane on site, that kind of thing. So it's not just as easy as plugging a pole in a corner. We need space around it to get around. So, moving it to a corner while you're looking at the top of an aerial photo looks fine. When you show up and find out that the landlord uses the space or can't be disrupted in that particular area, then it makes it difficult. And that's what the case was with McGinnis Trucking, is that corner is a space that they weren't able to offer us. Originally, we were actually right on the property line of Mount Edward Road. Right along there. We did move the tower back, I think, originally at the request of the city. I can't remember, Jess, was it Greg who had asked us to move it back?
Yes, I believe it was.
Yeah,
we're set back now about 17 meters from Mount Edward Road.
Yeah, so we did look to originally from, pre-consultation before we got even our, well, at least it might have just been signed, and we had to go back to the landlord and ask to move it back from its original location along the side of the road. at the request of Greg. So, anyways, we did that, and we're more than happy to move it again, provided we had a willing landlord to do it. So, technically it would be challenging given the high voltage lines above, the drainage ditch, and then of course we didn't have the support of the landlord to move it back. So that's kind of where we're at today. We would have certainly moved it. I mean, cost-wise for Bell to put it one place or to the other is the same. So it really would have had zero effect on that side of things, our business. And as far as coverage requirements goes, it didn't really have any material effect either, moving it back. So we're more than happy to do that for the city if that was a request to make it happen. Unfortunately, it's just something we can't accommodate. I heard the mayor's comments about opposition, but Jess can speak to the fact. I mean, we did put the notice out. A newspaper ad went out, I believe, Jess, in this particular case.
So for this one, we worked with the city, and they provided to us the mail-out addresses for all property owners within 3 times the tower height. So those mail-outs went out, advertising of the proposal included like the site plan, the elevation. And within that mail-out, it included an invite to the public information session that was held on August 25th. We also put an ad in the Guardian to, one, notify the public and all the residents in the city of Charlottetown of the tower and inviting them all to the public information session on August 25th. And then as per the protocol from the city of Charlottetown, we also sent an invite out to Mr. Cody, who would have been the former councillor for that area at the time, inviting him to our public information session. And then as Alex mentioned, the only individual who showed up to our meeting was Greg, just to check in, see if anybody was there to help answer questions. And through the process, we received 0 comments through emails or phone calls with questions or comments about the tower location or the design.
I just want to add to that is that, I've done quite a few of these meetings, all over. I cover, handle the real estate for Nova Scotia, PEI, and a good portion of New Brunswick. So I understand they're not always the greatest developments that you want to push to your constituents, but at the same time, typically when we get one that's even the slightest bit controversial, or we typically get somebody to show up at the meeting or even write an email. I can tell you, we're working on another site where we get 50 letters of opposition to it. So. We did our very best in this circumstance to follow the city's protocol to make sure we met all the requirements in an industrial area, which we did do. As far as the setback off the road, I don't believe it's part of your protocol.
No, Chris, there isn't that I noted as a setback requirement off a street.
Yeah, so we've really tried to follow everything that you outlined in your protocol, and I think we did that. We've notified, I don't know how much more we could have done. And this really could have been addressed within early on if it really was, But unfortunately, the other sites that we even had opportunities to lease were actually even closer. I don't know if you're familiar. I think it's Sylvan Learning Centers was one other place we looked at. I mean,
I know where it is. It's across the street.
Yeah, it's across the street. The space between their building and the road is what they offered us. I mean, it would have been right on the road. And I think there was a property just adjacent that was, would have been similar, just right off the road. This one actually sets us back
17 meters.
17 meters, yeah.
So,
Yep. Mr. Chair, could I just ask Chris a question?
Yes, Mayor.
Chris?
Yep.
So the mail out that you and Jess did, okay, so that mail out, we use 100 meters as the catchment area to send out letters to property owners? Did you hear me?
Yeah, 3 times the tower height.
No, yeah, but when we send out a notification, a public notification to a development in an area, we take the center point of that and go out 100 meters. right?
Your worship, it's Alex. This is not a requirement under the zoning bylaw. This is a separate document. It's the city's telecommunication protocol. So the notification is different in that, and the notification is run by the applicant, not the city. They run their own, and then they bring us back the results.
Yeah,
that's why I'm asking. That's why I'm asking Chris the question.
And as part of that, we worked with Greg, and the civic addresses were provided to us, and they didn't actually take it from the center of the tower. They took the property boundary for this site and went out 3 times the tower height and gave us all those property owners, and that is who received the mail out.
Yeah, so that area, Jess, I'm sure you're familiar with it, you and Chris. That's an industrial area, so there wouldn't be any too many residential properties. But on the East Link Tower, that's off Mount Edward Road, that was within a residential area. So when the notifications went out by Eastlink, the reaction was swift and furious, and that is opposing it. And I think Eastlink ended up going to CRTC, and CRTC said, put up the tower. So that's what happened in that case. And I'm just trying to say to you that you can send out letters to an industrial area, did you say Greg, the former chair, gave you addresses?
No, sorry, Greg Morrison, formal planner with the city of Charlottetown. And so I can 100% understand what you're saying. That is why we also put the advertisement in the Guardian, that residents who aren't within that 3 times the tower height also have an opportunity to see the proposals going up and provide comment.
And the Guardian newspaper is like other traditional media. It's losing its readership, so you don't have the readership that we did in the past when we put out these public notices regarding changes. All I'm saying, Jess, Chris, is that I look at the Google Maps. When you go down Mount Edward Road, you're going north. Power lines are on both sides of the road. And where you want to put where I saw the first survey markers for, if the Tower River fell to the west, it would knock down both high power lines. Putting it back further would give a little more safety to, Chris, I'm trying to find those power lines that would be close to, because Osco's in back there, so is Charlottetown Bottle and Metal. If that power line that you're talking about in the back, the northeast section of McGinnis's property is a high power line, that'd be going back into Osco, which is a cement plant that's owned by Ocean Steel Company. So, look, guys, I'm for infrastructure development, but, we have to make it where, it's not the imposing structure that will create some opposition when it starts going up. I'm just trying to find the best place so that it's off the beaten path, and then it's providing all the service that Bell wants to offer to this great city of ours. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think that we know who the decision maker is on that. It's McGinnis Brothers. I mean, these people here today, they have informed us that they have brought it to the extent of their authority, and now it's McGinnis Brothers who have made the decision that no, it can't go where we desire it to go. So I think we know who we talk to next. So we'll have one more round from the folks. Alex, are you okay? Anything to add, Alex?
Yeah, well, again, I mean, I guess your opportunities today are to either to provide the level of concurrence. It is, again, and to follow up from when the mayor was alluding to the previous tower, that previous tower was dealt with differently. It was dealt with under the old zoning bylaw, and the issue is that that could have even gone to appeal, but there is a very different process for all towers in the country. It reverts back to the fact that towers, the authority having jurisdiction is Industry Canada or Innovation, Science, and Economic Development. But the change from when the mayor was alluding to it, we had a public meeting, the city of Charlottetown had a public meeting where the public inputted, but at the end of the day, that information was again sent to Industry Canada, who presumably at that time decided to go with it. But the change in the process is, that's why the applicant is here, in order to get, it's up to Industry Canada whether they want to approve this or not, but they want a fairly clear direction from the city of Charlottetown. So I guess where we are, we either say yes, we say no, or we say and if we say no, we should have some pretty not compelling, but again, it's like a zoning application as to why we have our concerns, so we can feed that back to the applicant. So I just thought I'd clarify that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Alex.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
so Alex,
Mayor Brown, could we let Chris answer
sorry about that, Mr.
yours,
Chair. Thank you.
and we'll get you next, Your Worship. Chris, is that you?
Yes, if
Go
you
ahead.
wouldn't mind. I just
Go
want
ahead.
to follow up and just say that I understand your point on the newspapers don't have the readership and in an industrial area, but your city protocol that's approved by the city indicates that an industrial area is a preferred area for a tower of this type, and it provides the notification that's required for the tower. So, I mean, Bell has done what you've asked us to do as far as notification goes. And in fact, it's more than what we would typically do in some other towns where we're just following Industry Canada's protocol. So I just wanted to make it clear that, as far as notification goes and you're concerned that residents will be upset about the tower, I mean, the local councillor didn't bring up any issues, who you'd think would probably be, quite hands-on in knowing whether or not this was an issue. But I just wanted to make it clear that, we did follow exactly what we were requested of by the city for this approval. And there were zero comments until after our 30-day notification period had come up. I mean, it's, I don't know what more else to say and how we could have gone to more people without doing exactly what we did.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Mayor Brown, would you like to wrap up?
Chris and Jess, I appreciate all the efforts that you've done to this point, and also joining our planning and development committee, standing committee meeting. I appreciate that, and I know when the opposition will start. When that tower starts going up, that's when the councillors from the area will start hearing that what he's doing now. But the city's going through lots of development, which is a good problem to have. But we're also being criticized that there's too much going on. Now, this is infrastructure development, and as I said right from the beginning, I'm a strong supporter of infrastructure development, whether it's on roads, streets, bridges, tunnels, cell towers. So you're not getting any opposition from me on that, Chris and Jess. I'm just concerned that public reaction, and I know Alex said it was a different zoning and development bylaw back when Eastlink forwarded their issue and the outcry from the residents, and it grew from not only the neighborhood but outside. It brought others into it. I am just asking, as a representative for this great city of Charlottetown, that you find a compatible, something that will be suitable for all of us, that will be off that main road. And Chris, Jess, if you need the help of the city to look at something where we can find a piece of property, I'd be the first to put my hand up. This won't be the last cell tower going up in the city. There will be more, because the demand for cellular connectivity is growing, and when 5G starts to hit the market and the communities, it's going to grow much more. So I'm just asking, and I don't know if my colleagues agree with me or not, but I'm sticking to my issue that it's aesthetically and politically, and I should say politically very lightly, is that it will not sell where you're putting it. And that is how I end my comments. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Your Worship. Lenny Ankoff, would you like to provide concluding remarks? Do you have anything to add?
I don't really have anything else to add. I mean, it's a real tough one. I mean, I can understand the frustration of the applicant, because they followed every bit of process to a T. They did everything right, and there was no, the council of the area didn't appear to have gotten any feedback from any residents. So here we are, the process is done, and now we're kind of going back a little bit. I'm really, you know, I understand, I want it to be more aesthetically pleasing too, but I also see that the applicant has ticked off every box and then some they were supposed to do in order for them to move forward. So I guess those are my last comments, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Yankoff. Councillor McCabe, do you have anything to wrap up with?
I'm with the land. I feel for the applicants because you're right, they've done everything, but I also agree with the mayor where we know that we've had issues with the development part where residents don't pay attention until the hole is dug, for sure. And then it's going to be a big deal around why, you know, as far as the councillor not showing up in the area, I can't answer that. When can you tell me when this meeting was or when this information was again, Jess? I'm sorry.
The meeting was at the Rod Royalty on August 25th. And so that meeting happened approximately 3 days after the 30-day notification period closed. So I believe it was Mr. Cody, who was the previous area councillor. He would have been sent that invitation end of July. Or like it would have been, well, it probably would have been around July 20th that would have been sent to him. I'm like giving an estimate date to invite him to the meeting, as well as that's around the same time we would have placed the newspaper ad.
Yeah, and although everything was done right, like I was on planning, as my Councillor Duffy said, and I wasn't in tune to what was happening, whether it was coming off pandemic time and moving into summer, or, you know, I'm just being honest, like I really didn't pay that much attention myself. So I just do agree that in my 2 years being on council, I've seen the repercussions of bigger projects that we don't do it right. So I'm there too.
Thank you, Julie.
Mr. Chair, this is my last comment, and Jess, the councillor you're speaking about is, he's the Deputy Mayor, Jason Cody. He's still he remains to be the councillor from that area, So not only that, he sat on the planning board before we made our changes. So he was in tune or aware of what was going on with this application. So I just wanted to clarify that. He is still with us, but as Councillor McCabe said, why he didn't respond or end up at the meeting. I didn't show up to the meeting either because I would have been the first to show up, but it just missed my agenda because I love going to meetings. Mr. Chair.
Yes. So I saw that he was no longer on the committee and was wondering with the re-election that happened, if there wasn't a new area councillor.
Yeah.
No, there hasn't been a re-election. Our election's in 2022.
Okay. Oh, you just shifted around some of the committee. Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Now we have a great chair by the name of Councillor Mike Duffy.
Yeah.
So he's the guy that's leading the ship.
We just went through our election here, yeah.
Not the senator. Not the senator.
No, he's not the senator. No, there's a difference here. Yeah.
Thanks, folks, for your input. Jess?
I just dialed in. I don't know if you can hear me.
It's on. We can hear you now.
Okay.
I couldn't. I apologize. I couldn't get my laptop working, but I am on the dial-in now. If there's any questions for me.
No problem. I think Chris covered very well for you. Yes, I can turn it over to your gang. Any closing comments or remarks, or from yourself and Chris and Vaughn?
I just want to, emphasize, that we have ticked all the boxes in the protocol. We have followed what we were supposed to do for a telecommunication tower. And so at this time, we are requesting a letter of concurrence that does indicate that as the land use authority, the city of Charlottetown is satisfied that we have completed the public notification process as outlined within their antenna system setting protocol, and that you are duly notified. We've provided the public consultation process, and that this can now be complete and allow Bell to move on with this site. And Chris, I'm not sure if you have any closing remarks that you would like to make as well.
No, that's it. And like I said, Bell's happy to work with everybody, but I guess at the end of the day, we need a decision on whether to move forward or not. So, that's where we're at. Thank you for your time and coming back, and we'll, I guess, await the response.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chris.
Thanks.
Thank you, one and all, for
Thank you.
giving up your lunch hour for this very important meeting on both sides of the ditch. Nova Scotia, PEI. Have a great afternoon, and the mayor, you want to say something? Maybe like stay safe.
Well, listen, that's a great point there, Councillor Duffy. Just remember, stay safe, be smart, and stay apart. Thank you, Jess, and thank you, Chris and Vaughn. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for having us.
Bell Canada is a great company.
Thank you.
Take care.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Mayor?
Are we still live?